Hello YouTube and welcome back to the channel outside the target demographic. I got my windows tinted last weekend. They look great, but I'm noticing a bit of a squeak from the front brake. Man, I'm getting better at that. Let's get started. Recall that last time I worked on the brakes, I had swapped the rear and the front. My tires are unidirectional, so I cannot swap them or rotate them from side to side. It can only be from front to back. So we had a little bit of a browning. That was the brake pad had literally cracked in half when it failed, prematurely, I'll add. So I did a test in that I put this one up front, and this one, which did not have the dust, still does not have the dust. So that tells me that whatever the problem was has been resolved. So that is a my tip for the video. We have this rear wheel chocked. We have the manual transmission in first gear, and we have the parking brake on. So let's go ahead and jack this guy up. We're going to pull this. I'm pretty sure my front brakes are very close to, if not completely, gone. So let's double check that and review them. They are Amazon brake pads. I feel like they lasted a year and a half, which is not stellar. So let's go ahead, crack this open, and see if I just made a liar out of myself. Hi, Shadow. So in the process of getting the tools ready to get me into the car, the one thing I have noticed that is outside the car is that little glowy ball thing. Seems like every day it comes out. Reminder, I hate the heat. So let me show you a cheat for that. I happened to go to Five Below earlier this summer and found that they had these in a variety of colors. It is a adjustable two-piece. Well, we'll let the wind work that for me. Two-piece, so this part and that part will detach. This will fold up like a regular umbrella. And it is a beach umbrella that can be used for out at the park. We usually use a folding wagon instead of a stroller now for the kids, so this will fit inside the wagon and provide them some shade. It will also act to keep the sun off you as you're working on the car. Cost you $5, folds up flat, fits in your trunk. Another tip for the video. A 24 millimeter heavy socket at the base of this will prevent the wind from knocking it over. We could go ahead and put, I believe it is a 19 on there. I'm going to pop them free a half turn while the tire is on the ground, and then I'll jack it up and we'll take them out the rest of the way. The reason for that, as my other videos have said, you're going to be fighting. The axle is going to want to turn on you, and the whole car is going to want to shift as you're trying to brake 100 and I think these are 90 foot-pounds, but the wife's car is 125 foot-pounds worth of torque. To pop those guys free, you're less likely to have any kind of jostling or knocking off of jacks if you aren't using a jack. So go ahead and break them free here. Give yourself the best leverage you can. Take them off the rest of the way once it's jacked up. Nice and slow pressure on these. If you don't have the upper body strength to rotate these down, you can stand on it and use your body weight to break those free. They should not be that tight. This one wasn't. That was just for demonstration purposes. All 5 of them have been loosened, so let me go ahead and get the jack and get it up on the jacks. So we have Jack and his friend Stan. Let's go ahead and get this wheel off. So we have 4 lug nuts removed. The 5th one, the bottommost one, I leave in as last. And what I'll do with that, get this umbrella out of the way. Make sure it's loose enough. As I loosen this one, the tire will want to swing out from the bottom, and it could fall off, it could scratch, all that stuff. So if you put your foot at the bottom of the tire, not only are you taking the tension off of that last lug nut, but now I'm controlling when that tire is going to walk and when that tire is going to roll. On the back of my brake caliper are 2 windows. A flashlight helps. And what you're looking down is the hole in the middle of the rotor. So that's not what we're looking for. What we are looking for is on the side there. We got a little bit of gray, and that's going to be the brake pads. So more specifically, the brake pad material versus the backing plate. So this is my backing plate. That is metal. We do not want metal on metal because, one, metal on metal isn't great for grip, and two, metal on metal means my brake pad material is gone and I'm likely to start damaging things. So based on that window, I would say I'm okay. I'm already in here anyways. Let's go ahead and open up the caliper and visually inspect those pads. Okay, so we're gonna jostle you around a bit. The calipers are rusty. Welcome to the Rust Belt. I'm in Ohio. The pads look fantastic. So apparently it's not the pads. What I'll say is, if in doubt, look for the round out. Haha. If I pull one of these pads out, so you can see there's a little surface. We'll go on the shade here. There's a little surface on both, typically on both edges. Yep, a little less so on this one, but you can see there's a ridge right there. If it is flush all the way across, you're kind of on maybe 20%. So this is a visual indicator that you are close to running out. That said, if we can get it in the light there, you can see a very distinct bevel. So this is probably good to get me through the rest of the winter. This will be an issue for me to look at next season. But I have another reason to be in here, and I'm going to go ahead and start cleaning that up a little bit, just a wire brush kind of thing. But again, looking through the window gave us an idea. Pulling it open got us the rest of the way. If I was not recording, this would have taken me probably 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So relatively quick. It's cheap insurance. Know what condition your brake pads are in. I do have nomenclature in my repair log of when I put these in. Now again, these are from Amazon. I was going to poo-poo on Amazon's quality, but so far it seems to be holding up well enough. I really don't have a frame of comparison until I do. I had already purchased front brake pads through OEM Subaru, so I will do a comparison. I essentially drive the same distance every day, so that would be a good reference for, is the OEM, if it's 50% more expensive, does it last 50% longer, right? So far, I have plenty of pad. I'm already in here. I'm going to clean it up a little bit, and then we can button it back up. I'm of the opinion that things should be in better shape on your way out than they were on the way in. So I used some PB Blaster and a little bit of rust, some buildup along the pistons, the two metal circles inside of the rubber there. So I just sprayed the exterior diameter and we're letting that soak in. That's going to free those up a little bit. I wonder if it's not just a grabbing caliper. And then I disassembled and cleaned the brake pads here. I took them out. I cleaned this up with a wire brush. And then we used the brake lubricant on those two contact points. So it should be less dirty, more able to move, and the PB Blaster will help break down some of that rust and make it work a little bit better. So we should be better off than we were. We at least know the brake pads are in very good condition. Probably another 1 or 2 seasons on those with how aggressively I drive. So let's go ahead and put the brake caliper back together. Reassembled the brake caliper. Both of these were 14 millimeters, so it doesn't matter which one goes which. They're the same length and all. What I would recommend, another tip for the video, when you have the brake pads on and you're trying to engage the caliper, this would have squeezed the brake pads into place and just released a little bit, right, throughout its operation. So if you don't get those pads completely seated, you're going to be fighting yourself. Once you get this slipped into place, before you try bolting it on, slowly roll the caliper towards you. And what that's going to do is it's going to apply pressure on those two pistons, and they're going to start reseating. By that, it's going to allow the mouth to open up a little bit more, and this is going to seat a lot easier. Also note, it's not yank, okay, I'm good. It's a slow, gradual. I mean, if it's 10 pounds of pressure for 10 seconds, it's better than trying to whiplash, especially with the car already up on these stilts. So it's a slow, gradual, I mean, just lean backwards. And the weight of your body pulling away from the car is going to recede those two pistons and give you a lot more wiggle room to get them lined up. After that point, I put one of them in finger tight, maybe 5-6 threads. You want to start fingers because your fingers are not powerful and they cannot strip or misalign a bolt. So I got that one in place. That allowed this to swing, and I was allowed to rock it back and forth until I got this one lined up. Once I did, I got this one started with 5 or 6 finger twists, and then I was able to tighten it down the rest of the way and torque them into place. You've seen in other videos, but I'm going to bring the wheel over, move your parasol out of the way, line these up, start with your top one, and the tire will kind of rock into position once you get them all lined up. Come on now. Play some battleship until you get those threads lined up. And we're essentially going to do the reverse order. So if I get a lug nut, I put it on the bottom one, and I just get a couple of threads engaged, I can release the tire and it'll stay in place, allowing me to get the other ones lined up. Couple extensions in your 19mm for a Subaru. You can just hand spin these into place. It's a little more difficult to do these finger tight, like I said. They're recessed, so you can't really get much of a grip on them. But this is essentially a screwdriver, not a leverage bar. So I'm not turning something out here. I'm spinning it on the same axis, and that's going to give me the same lack of torque that you're going to want to get these started. Again, if I use my foot to hold the bottom of that tire, I can both shake the tire, allowing these to seat a little bit better, but I can also control the tilt of the tire and make sure that I got these all relatively flush mounted, regardless of how much resistance they give me. Again, being a center axis, not having a leverage bar, it's going to feel like they're tight when they aren't. You're going to run out of torque faster because you have less starting torque. So if I kick that wheel back and forth, it's not wobbling, so I know that's good. We're going to do a star pattern to tighten these. Okay, now we want to get rid of our extension. We're going to get out our torque wrench, and we're going to torque these into place. Torque wrench is on. I'm ready to torque them back on, right? Right? Wrong. So I still have it jacked off the ground. Jacked off. Thank you, truck. So I'm going to remove the jack stand first, then the jack, lower this down to the ground, and that way I'm not going to be fighting the tire bouncing and the axle trying to rotate on me. It'll be seated against the ground. All the leverage from my shoulder, from my body weight, will be going directly to tightening that lug nut and not from loading and shocking the suspension. So make sure you do it in that order. Okay, now I'm going to do it in a star pattern. It doesn't matter where you start. Click, there's one. Click, there's two. Click, there's three. Click, there's four. Click, there's five. We're halfway done. It is better to tighten all your lug nuts twice than to forget to tighten all your lug nuts once. So I'm going to go around. Should be pretty quick. You're here anyways. You're already set up. Why not give it a try? And you'll notice they are needing a little bit more travel to seat again. Okay. So we're now good there. Do a couple push-ups. Look underneath your car. Make sure you didn't leave any pieces, parts, or have anything hanging that wasn't there before. Keep your torque wrench. That's the one. God, I hate the heat. Did I mention that? I feel like I've mentioned that. Keep your torque wrench with the whatever you need. Mine is 19mm socket on there. Put it in your passenger seat. And the next time you get back to work, when you come back out to drive back home, go and retighten them. And when you get back home from coming home from going to work, go and retighten them again. It's better to tighten them, hi Bagheera, a number of times than to trust that you've done it correctly the first time. Vibrations, road, speeds, temperature changes, heating up, cooling down, thermal expansion, all that stuff could make those walk. So it is better to make sure that they stay on your car as God intended. So that was doing this side. I'm going to do the same to the other side. I trust you guys will trust me that I'm going to be doing that. So we're going to cut this video a little bit short. I would suggest that if you have never done your brakes before, it's relatively simple. Borrow some tools from your friends if you need to. Have them come over and show you how to do it if you need to. The money I've saved in doing my own brakes has paid for a $160 air conditioning recharge and getting my windows tinted. And I'm still coming out a little bit ahead from getting those two things done. So I'm now enjoying much colder air than I had before and a less warm cabin to begin with than I had before for the money that I would have spent doing brakes, which takes maybe an hour and a half out of my day to do all four of them. So pretty simple. For those of you who haven't done it before, have your friend show you. If you don't have a friend or you don't have a friend that knows how to do it, become that friend. Set up a camera just as I did. It's a cheap camera tripod and a little cell phone holder. Record yourself disassembling it. If you get lost, if you forget what you did, if you forget the sequence of events, you have it on high def, probably video, and you're able to rewind, rewatch, and relearn how to do it. Very simple, straightforward. I think I only removed, was it 7? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This came off, 6, 7, and I had access to my brake pads. I didn't even have to change them today. I did have them on order. Turns out brake pads don't have a shelf life. So have them on order, keep them in your glove box, keep them in your trunk, whatever. When you need them, you have them. It saves you from having to panic and rely on, already dead brakes for the week it takes for the mail to deliver. And it's going to happen during the winter and blah, 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 blah. So better have it and not need it than need it and not be able to get it. Let's see. I think that's all the dad advice that I have for you guys. As always, any questions, comments, concerns you have, leave them in the comments section below. This is outside the target demographic. I appreciate you guys stopping by. And until the next video, stay safe out there.